Tēnā koutou o tira, tēnā tātou I tēnei pō. Kia ora everybody, Che Wilson here from Te Pai Pai Waho, connecting to you tonight through a number of different platforms. And tonight's kaupapa is on Māramatanga and how we find our way through adversity, through hard times. So kāti ake, e mihi ana tēnā koutou, kia tīmata tātou. Mai a maranga wakarangona te rangi e tūnei, mai a maranga wakarangona te papea takutu ake nei. Mai are wakatupu anuku, mai are wakatupu arangi, e ue nei ki te pau o te pai pai wao, e tūnei. Turuturu o hiti waka maua kia tīna, hui e, tāiki e. Kia ora tātou. As I said, Che Wilson here from Te Pai Pai Waho. And as I connect to you tonight, on the 7th of December, it's mine and Missy's birthday as being parents. 16 years today, our girl was born, so happy birthday, baby. I love you heaps, and even though you think we give you a headache, I think it's both ways. But love you heaps, and hope you're enjoying your time with Nana and Papa and everybody down home. Hoi anō, e mihi ana ki a tātou, e tangi ana ki o tātou mate, Auntie Lovey, e moi auntie, tatu atu ki tō tātou te maiti ki o tautahi, I mate kino nei, e tama, takoto atu rā ki Wairewa, ki mihi a te ara, ki te wākainga, ki te nui o Ngāti Ruaka, ki te nui o Ngāti Uenuku, e moe. Tatu atu ki a koe e koro dude, e moe. Yeah, just a few mate as I'm mindful of my Auntie Lovey that passed away last week. And I spent so many good times with Auntie as a child and going to Matau Marae last week. Hadn't been there since I was a child. And the memories flooded in, and they were beautiful memories, nothing but sweet, beautiful memories of great times, digging, doing the toheroa shuffle to get toemanga or toheroa, pīngao at Waitarere, kieke, papaitonga, flax in the swamps, and all of those good memories of far too many lollies, going to Housey and all of that. Remember that. And then also the nephew in Christchurch, tragic loss. And koro dude, koro kawana pohe. So this koro was part of the Māori show bands in Las Vegas, and he's related to me on both mum and dad's side. And call him koro dude because of a hard case time we had in London. But koro kawana e moe. So tonight's kaupapa, I thought I'd talk about Māramatanga simply because as we navigate these difficult times of traffic lights, mandates, vaccination pass or no vaccination pass, all of this stuff, I thought I'd talk about Māramatanga and how we can see and find some examples, not to comment on what's currently happening, but to give us strength as individuals, as groups, as a people. Because there's some beautiful models that have been left behind, beautiful examples that have been left behind. And I think I'm going to talk about three of them. And both the three of them from prophetic movements. The first one is Kingi Tawhiao, who was both a prophet and a king. And he talks about a house and building a house out of mahoe and patate and hino. And when I think about that teaching, the māhoi and the patate are trees that hang on the outside of the forest, and they are the windbreakers. They're not the big flash trees that you use to build great waka and carve beautiful houses and all of that. They're the trees that bend in the wind and that protect you from the wind. And the hino too is just the next layer in. But when I think about that, and this is my own comment rather than a tainui or a waikato perspective, and I think of the role of those different trees, those different plants, you know, a patate is a really good rongoa. And what it does is, well, at least on the Whanganui River, it was the go-to before kawakawa became popular post-1980s. And so patate was our go-to. And then once you get up to the mountain, it slightly differed, and you had to use different other plants. But one, it's a rongoa, and two, the two trees, as I see, is are protection trees, because the house that you have to create in times of hard or adversity, when it's hard, when the shit hits the fan, you've got to employ, you've got to lean on all of those skills that help you navigate so that you don't break. Because if you're fixed on a position, either way, you can easily break. And there are too many people breaking. And I'm not saying that you need to change your positions, but I'm saying that here's some teachings where they've taught us to move and adjust to find a solution. And there's always loopholes. And so we've got to find the solution. And I think about the māhoi, the patate, and the hino, and they help us to navigate through those challenges. And I think about the time of Tāwhia, it was pretty hard. You know, all your rohe was being taken over, being stolen, and you were being classed as a cray-cray, a renegade, and all of these other things. You have to dig deep, and you have to find some things that you believe in. And what I'd like to suggest is we need to find our rock. And what do I mean by our rock? You know, when you're chanting, you're seeing, you know, I remember all of the nanas especially, and Koropuma and all of them, when they were in the zone, they would find their rock. And that rock, that movement, I already do it myself when I'm in my chanting space, is where you connect to a universal vibration which is higher than the noise in here. Because the noise in here can easily play games with us. But when we link to our puku and we connect to the rock, that takes us to a universal vibration where we're able to lean on other things rather than just ourselves. And the māhoi and the patate, I suggest, are avenues to that rock. If we move now to another prophetic movement, to Rātana, he talks about a manuao. And a manuao is a waka. It's often translated as a man of war. But it's the things on the waka, it's the tools on the waka that give you the strength. And those tools are both kiko, physical, and wairua, spiritual. And therefore you have different tools to do different things. And when you have those different tools to do different things, you're able to navigate the onslaught of a massive wave, and that your waka can cut through that onslaught of a massive wave because you've got the tools, you've got the skills that can help you. And again, if you can connect into the rock, that gives you rhythm to keep in time as you're moving through the waka on a manuao. And then the other prophetic movement that I'll lean on tonight is my own, and that's the prophetic movement of Te Māraikura Hori Enoka, which is the brother movement to Ratana, the Māramatanga, not the Hai. And again, like Ratana, we talk about a waka, and we call that waka te waka o te ora. And so even when we're pushed and challenged where we can't meet together, we have to lean on the tools that are put before us, those physical tools, those spiritual tools, to help guide us through all of the challenges. And especially when we can't meet, and especially when we're anxious and nervous. And so it's not about us just parroting what the authorities say, but it's that we have conviction in our puku to let these legacy, these words of wisdom from our poropiti, from our tupuna, guide us in these hard times. Because I know, in one sense, Tāmaki Makoto can't wait to get out. And I can't wait to see my big sister and all my family too. You can't wait to see all of them. But in the same breath, we need to be really careful as we travel around. My in-laws in Te Kuiti are going through some pretty hard times right now. But there's the teachings. There's the nehe nehe nui right there. And what's the nehe nehe nui about? It's about utilizing nature to provide protection. And so when you think about the nehe nehe nui, it requires ngā here here, the ngā here, which is a symbiotic, interconnected web where everybody helps each other and relies on each other to not only survive, but thrive. And I think when we look at all of these challenges and when we lean between two worlds, it can easily provide confusion. And what I suggest is that the principles that we lean on come from a place that's rock hard, that's solid, rather than flitting between places, which gives us confusion here and takes us away from the rock. Because when you're in a time of confusion, it's difficult to connect to to the universal vibration that can give you the rock and give you a sound foundation to stand on. So I think of the house, the mahoe, the patate. I think of the manuao and how it surges through the waves, as well as te waka o te ora. But there are so many other examples where tupuna wisdom has been left for us to tap into. Just like Avatar, when you plug in, it's there for us to tap into right now if we can allow ourselves to and put aside the noise and challenges that distract us and take us into a state of confusion, because that state of confusion can bring on the koroirangi effect, which is not only a place of tyranny, where there's tyranny through confusion, but it results in indecision, it results in wishy-washy stuff, and it results in tau kume kume. Whereas if you build a house or you build a waka and you're clear on what you're building, doesn't need to be all of these tupuna references, but so long as it has the contribution of wairua and tinana and how you work together as a community, and then finally link into a vibration, those four things, I think will be a pretty good recipe to help us as we navigate hard times. And I say navigate hard times because I think about all of the maraes, at least most of the marae along the Whanganui River Road, are closing up under the red level. And similarly at home, our maraes are making decisions right now. So, and it's harder when you haven't got a doctor and when you're a holiday place. So everybody will be coming in, and that brings more anxiety. So as we find these tools, let's remember to love each other. Let's remember to love each other, and let's remember to send that love irrespective of what our position is, because that's what's going to get us through. Because centuries ago, Catholics and Anglicans and everyone else, not even centuries ago, were fighting each other. Now we can share ecumenical services with each other. And so we'll get through this, but we'll get through it by leaning in onto some beautiful tupuna wisdom that can help and guide us. So ka te ake, next week will be my last one before Christmas. Then I'm going to have a break and we'll start back up sometime in January. O tino, e me I kauatu ana ki koutou. I might do the odd one in between the holidays as random ones, but nothing organised as per our normal Tuesdays. So me I kauatu ana ki tātou katoa, ana, ko ara mai aki ea, aki tea, me te mātou tonu, e piki tonu ana ngā maanatanga o ine raumati, e rongo nei tātou ia i, e rongo nei tātou ia a, me te wakaere ake, ki te tā nui, o te rangi e tūnei, turuturu au i te oha maua kia tīna, hui e, taiki e, pōmarire.